Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us tonight. It's RTCC's third birthday this year, and it's the second time, thanks very much. It's the second time we've run these awards, very daring of us. As one of our guests here told me yesterday, there's much about this process that is zombie-like, but I think if you focus on too much on what's inside the COP, you miss some major steps and progress outside. And that's why we're here, to acknowledge in our own way the impressive achievements from civil society, charities, universities, and business in maintaining momentum towards a cleaner and a greener future, and also hopefully one below 2 degrees Celsius. Before we get to the awards, which we'll start very shortly, I'd like to introduce a special guest, Dirk Forrester from the International Emissions Trading Association, a veteran of these talks and climate policy in general, who'll just set the scene for us and explain why there is so much to look forward to outside this conference centre.
Thanks, Ed. So I'll give you a little bit of my take on this. A lot of our work at IETA tends to be fairly granular, in the weeds, in the trenches, and working on legislative solutions to climate change around the world. We sometimes get so focused on counting the votes and trying to get achievements that we've missed some of the bigger things that are going on. But this year that started to change, and I think it really started to change around New York, right in the lead into New York, when we at IETA, in partnership with a number of other organizations, ran a Latin America Caribbean Carbon Forum in Bogota, Colombia, and had a huge turnout of interest from businesses from all over this region who were looking at the Lima COP coming up and I think taking on a new level of seriousness. About a week later, we went to New York, saw mobs of people marching in the streets, saw corporate leaders and heads of state coming together at the UN to talk for a whole day about actions that were occurring around the world on climate change, talking about solutions that were being developed and implemented, and talking about the importance of carbon pricing, which was something that we cared about a lot, that we worked on very hard with the World Bank and a number of other organizations, and launching a joint statement on carbon pricing that was signed by 74 governments and over 1,000 businesses. That was something we haven't seen, that kind of energy level behind a powerful idea. And it didn't stop there, because that was a show of momentum, I think, in a forum that had a lot of economics around it. But as you move forward into the autumn, you saw some other big things happen. You saw momentum from scientists on the IPCC report, and that scientific imperative coming through very strong. You also saw momentum appearing politically with the announcements from the EU on its planned target for 2030, and also from the United States and China in that historic announcement that their leaders made. Not long after that, maybe 10 days after that, we saw the commitments come through to the Green Climate Fund, so there's momentum on finance. Anyway, as I looked at all of that leading into this COP has a much different feel. And it's not because of big announcements that were made here so much, right? It was because of things that were happening out around the planet. And that's what really has to happen, because we all know that if you haven't been to a COP before, part of what you see here is the results of a very large, complex orchestration, because most people come here in the negotiator roles with an instruction book that's been hardly fought at home, that's going to define how they approach various issues. So you get to see how that all unfolds on a global stage. But a lot of the hard work has already happened long before they got here. This time around, as they were making those plans, there were big things happening that are showing the wheels starting to turn. And you know, I can't predict what will happen by the end of next week here. I just think that after all of those things, the follow has to be something significant. It has to be something that's content-rich in terms of the substance, and it has to be something that's really giving the global community the essential elements to work with for Paris next year, when we really do need a good concrete result. But anyway, I'm happy to talk about all the action that you see happening out there, and I know your awards are going to really give a spotlight to some of the concrete things that are happening. So I hope that's helpful, Ed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dirk. Really appreciate that. So let's crack on and get to our first award, which is Climate NGO of the Year. The award is going to be presented by the Green Party of Mexico, Arturo Escobar, Jesus Semer, and from the Green Party of Mexico. So come to the stage, guys. And perhaps you can say a few words about your work and why you were so keen to sponsor this award.
Well, it's a great privilege to be at the COP20 in Lima. Of course, Greenpeace represents an international, worldwide recognized NGO. They push agenda, they help in the education, and in Mexico they're very big. We have a good relationship with them, and it's a great privilege to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to speak in Spanish. Para nosotros es muy importante dar este premio a Greenpeace. Como ustedes saben, las ONGs es una parte importante de la sociedad porque gracias a ellos, con la investigación y con el trabajo, es como los gobiernos y los partidos políticos pueden hacer políticas públicas y hacer iniciativas que vayan acorde con el medio ambiente para protegerlo. Unidos podemos todos y ese es un mensaje muy importante. ONGs, gobiernos, partidos políticos y sobre todo ciudadanía, sociedad. Thank you very much for it. United we can do everything to protect the world and the environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, you gave the game away. The winner of the award for Climate NGO of the Year is Greenpeace, winning for the second year in a row. And I'm very pleased to invite Ruth Davis, Greenpeace UK's political director, to the stage. Ruth.
Thank you. I don't know quite how to do this.
Congratulations.
I'll try to be brief. I think there's three things that I want to say. Do you want me to put that down? Oh, you want me to hold it up?
I'll hold it.
While speaking. I can't do more than one thing at once. I'm really sorry. I think the first thing that it's vital to say is that Greenpeace is part of a huge and growing community of climate activists around the world. And it seems invidious for any one organization to be standing up and receiving this award in a context where actually we're more united than we've ever been. We can put more people on the streets than we've ever been able to do. And we're uniting actually around a single goal. We're uniting around a world where we move away from fossil fuels, we keep them in the ground, and we build an energy system that is actually capable of protecting our planet. And that also includes protecting the other natural resources that matter in the world, particularly protecting our forests and natural forests. And there are, I know, lots and lots of people here today and lots of people in the continent of Latin America who've worked incredibly hard to protect their forests. And many of them have actually given their lives to that cause. And I want to offer them our enormous solidarity in respect in protecting their forests, actually, not just because of the carbon that is in those forests, but because of what they mean to people, because of their ecosystems, the biodiversity they represent, and protecting them from a world that treats them as if they're just another part of a market. They are not. They're natural systems with people, and they should be defended on that basis. So that was the first thing that I wanted to say. I think the second is actually just to say thanks to RTCC and Ed. They do a fantastic job. They've not been around for so long, but they've become a kind of part of the family, and they provide a service for all of us who are trying to make sense of this really, really kind of complicated and difficult negotiation. And the third is a very simple thing, which is to say thank you to the people of Peru. I must say that in the short time that I've been here, I've met nothing but kindness and good humor from the people of this city, and it's made for a very warm welcome, and I agree that it's making for a very good atmosphere. Let us all hope that that atmosphere of welcoming and solidarity and mutual support is translated into the actions of the politicians here in Lima this week. Thank you very much.
Bravo.
Great. Well, our second award today is Climate Woman of the Year, presented by the Ministry of Environment from Ecuador. Is the Ministry of Environment from Ecuador here? Do we know if they're here? Yes, they are. No, they're not. Well, we don't have the Ministry of Environment from Ecuador, which is a funny thing, given we're in a COP. Who knows where they are? But I can tell you who the winner is. She's a fantastic lady who made... I thought it was an absolutely stunning speech, actually, at the start of a New York Climate Summit. It caught many journalists by surprise because we'd arrived there and we were setting up our computers in the press center, and this quite small lady from the Marshall Islands got onto the main days in the General Assembly, and she started reading this poem, and a lot of us were sitting at our tables thinking, God, some crazy person's reading a poem. But actually, the more we listened to this poem, the more moved everyone came. And that's not something that you can often say about many journalists who pride themselves on being cynical. And by the end of it, the press room was fairly noisy, but it was a lot quieter than it was at the start. And I think a lot of people were hugely moved by what she said and also by the way she did it and the fact she had a young child there and her husband, and they came onto the stage. And I think they, in a sense, they laid down a fascinating challenge to all the diplomats and delegates who were there, who sat rather uncomfortably in their suits and probably wished they'd come with stronger promises than they'd arrived in New York with. So the winner of this award is Kathleen Kajena Jetil. She's a Marshallese poet. She's also a member of the 350 campaigning group. And Jamie Henn, who you can follow on Twitter at Agent 350, is here to pick it up. So congratulations to 350 and particularly to Kathy.
Well, thank you, Ed, and thank you, RTCC. I'm so sorry that Kathy couldn't be here. She's far more eloquent and far more of I think a real young leader that's coming up than I could ever be. But it's a real honor for us to receive the award on her behalf and speak a little bit about the work that she and many other young people are doing around the world to campaign for climate justice. A few days before that summit, before Kathy took the stage in New York, more than 400,000 people took to the streets of New York City for the world's largest march on climate change in history. They were joined by hundreds of thousands of people in thousands of events around the world. The movement to save this planet and build the type of future that Ruth and others were talking about is finally coming together and making itself heard in powerful ways. That march in New York helped fundamentally alter the dynamics of this issue in the United States, and I think will continue to reverberate as we move towards Paris. Have no doubt that this movement will be continuing to put people into the streets, put people in front of power plants, put people in the halls of power to make sure that those voices are being heard. Kathy herself is leading an incredible movement in the Pacific Islands where their slogan is, "We're not drowning, we're fighting." And those Pacific climate warriors just a few months ago helped block a coal port in Australia, saying that the coal that country was exporting, the lack of commitments that Australia has made has a direct impact on their lives in the Pacific and bringing that fight directly to their door. She's also helping lead a global divestment day of action, which will be taking place in February, challenging institutions to move their money out of the fossil fuel industry and start investing in climate solutions. So, Kathy, it's an honor on behalf of all of us who look to your leadership and the leadership from the Pacific Islands to accept this award and to continue to join you in that ever-important fight that we'll continue to wage towards Paris and beyond. And thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Jamie. Great words. Third is Green University of the Year, presented by Fidel Ramirez Prado at the University Alas Perunas. Do we have Fidel? Never mind, because I'm very pleased these guys won an award. They're from Brown University in Rhode Island, and they're part of the Climate Development Lab, and these guys have done a phenomenal amount of work in helping people understand how climate legislation and climate laws can work around the world. And some of them were also involved in Rhode Island's inaugural climate change law, which came online earlier this year, which, if you know anything about the way that US states work, it's incredibly impressive and incredibly progressive in terms of the way that US legislation, the way that US states are moving to develop their climate policy. So I'd like to welcome on stage Guy Edwards and some of his team from the Brown's Climate Development Lab. We have a certificate for you on the right, which my colleague Shane will present to you.
Ed, thanks. Thanks very much. That's great. Do you want to hold it? Sorry. Great. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks very much to RTCC for this excellent award and the sponsors as well. I'm joined on stage by three of our researchers from the Climate Development Lab. My name's Guy Edwards. I co-direct the lab. I'm accepting this award on behalf of our leader, Professor Timmons Roberts, who founded the lab back in 2010. We're a lab group, we're essentially a think tank that works on producing cutting-edge policy relevant material, and it's also a project in engaged education, hence why these students are here working as researchers. We focus on Latin American climate change politics, climate finance, and the least developed countries, and also some domestic issues which Ed referred to, namely the Rhode Island Resilient Act. So this is very exciting for us. Brown's actually celebrating its 250th anniversary this year. We've only been around for about 4 years, so we're a very new outfit. So this is very exciting for us. I would just mention that Brown is currently debating whether to divest from fossil fuels. I feel like, well, we're honored to receive this award, but Brown actually hasn't divested yet. So this discussion, this debate is going on at the moment. We hope we can join other universities, namely Stanford, from divesting. So hopefully we can come back next year in Paris and receive this award again with the good news that Brown might be divesting. So fingers crossed about that, and thanks again to RTCC.
Thank you, Guy, and thanks to the team. These guys did a really good job, so give them a round of applause. Fourth award, solar energy. Pedro Martin Dominguez from ESSA is going to give this award. Am I going to be 3 in a row? No sponsors to give the award. But never mind, because this is another person and this is another group which I think are really, really impressive. It's a group called Solar Aid, which is a charity, a kind of hive off from Solar Century. And they have done, and they are doing an amazing job, I think, in bringing solar energy to so many people in Africa who do not have access to electricity. I think there's something like 400 million people in Africa who do not have access to electricity. And one way, of course, is to build coal-fired power stations and, create more carbon emissions. Another way is to use the increasingly cheap solar panels around the world and actually bring cheap energy to people in Africa. So I'd like to welcome Jeremy Leggett to pick up this award from my colleague Shane on behalf of Solar Aid. And perhaps just say a few words about your work, Jeremy.
Yes. Well, thanks very much, and we're deeply honoured to receive this award at Solar Aid. We sell solar lanterns in Africa, and right now we're selling one every 40 seconds. So in 4 years, this organisation has come from nowhere to become the #1 retailer of solar lanterns, but we're a company with a difference. We recycle 100% of the profits, and we're 100% owned by the charity Solar Aid, which, of course, has been created with 5% of Solar Century's profits. So just a word about how this is done, because it's not done by people like me, aging white guys sitting in armchairs in London. It's actually done by African nationals in the 4 countries where we work. They're the people who have cracked a way to sell so many of these solar lanterns and spread so much good with them. Just to give you one of the social benefits that we know of, because we have teams of researchers following up in the field, we know that right across the 1.3 million lanterns that we've sold, they allow an extra hour of homework in households every night, and that's huge. The grades are already going up in some schools, and I think everyone here knows just how important education is in the whole thing. Then on top of that, each of the kerosene lanterns that they knock out puts up a ton of carbon dioxide over its life. So this is something that we think is really wonderful to be involved with. One other quick thought about all this, this is just one illustration of how you can knock out oil, because that's what we're doing with these solar lanterns. We're killing oil use in lighting in Africa, and it is amazingly easy to do. And we do it because we're simply saving people so much money using solar and not oil. And so we all do this work and we think to ourselves, if it's this easy with solar lighting, is it really going to be that much more difficult as you go higher up the value chain with fossil fuels? So that's one thought. And the other thought, just to finish, is we're really hopeful that there's a model here that other companies will copy. if it's possible for a middleweight solar company like Solar Century with just 5% of its profits to create in 4 years, you know, the biggest retailer of solar lighting in a whole of a continent, just imagine what the business world could do if lots of companies, maybe even most companies, were giving away 5% of their profits. You don't miss 5%. I mean, and you can justify it because the staff at the company love what you're doing and they stay with you longer. But if we could do that, that would create a whole new pool of capital in the world to add on to you know, what governments are increasingly struggling to do with their own finances. And you know, that would be a route to making a huge difference. So if anyone here wants to help with this mission of creating what we think of as a 5% club of other companies who give away 5% of their profits for climate and development, do get in touch and help us create this dream. Thank you very much.
We had an award for sustainable waste management. Is Tommy Mulvik-Pintar from EXA here at all? No? No Tommy either. The winner for that was Waste Aid in Canada. They can't be here, but Director Mike Webster sent his thanks. Latin American Green Business. I know the presenter is here, Enrique Diaz from Agrobanco. If I can invite you to the stage, Enrique. And perhaps you can explain, Enrique, why you were so keen to sponsor this award for Latin American Green Business.
Well, the idea is Agrobanco is becoming a green bank. We are everywhere in the country. We would like to be one of the distinguished entities to contribute to provide solutions for the climate change. So this is a great opportunity, being in Lima, this event, to be present, to say here we are taking this very serious, we are moving forward for this.
Fantastic. Well, the winner of the Latin American Green Business is IND Gaia, and I'm pleased to invite Alejandro Oroso to the stage to pick up the award for Daniel Helin, who's based in Spain. My colleague Shane, perhaps you can pass the award. Thank you very much. And Alejandro, if you want to say a few words.
Excuse me, but I prefer to speak in Spanish. Estoy en realidad sumamente halagado por esta distinción. Muchas gracias, Ed. Y muchas gracias más al señor Díaz como presidente del Agrobanco, que en realidad hará más posible la lucha que estamos haciendo, los planteamientos en nuestro desarrollo sostenible. Y como peruanos, ¿qué más en ayudar a trabajar conjunto a una institución de tan nobles propósitos? No olvidemos que estamos en la tierra de la Pachamama, y ahora que nosotros nos hemos imbuido en la nueva teoría que mejor representa la lucha por la sostenibilidad de la tierra, que es esta, la teoría Gaia, pues nada más que agradecerles, porque ya lo veo en París, señor Díaz, contando de los logros que usted va a hacer. Permítame felicitarlo y agradecerle a ti también. Gracias.
Thank you very much, Alejandro. And thank you very much, Enrique, too. Much appreciated. Next door was for wind energy. Is Randy Ramdas Singh from the Trinidad and Tobago Ministry here? Here he comes. Now, we're not sure this time. Randy, if you'd like to come on stage and tell us a few words about Trinidad and Tobago and your sort of efforts to promote green energy.
Well, it's not very far from here. That's the first thing. We're just a small twin island republic off the coast of Venezuela. So it's not that far away yet. This is the first time I've been in this part of the world. To reiterate what someone said, the warmth and hospitality of the Peruvians have been outstanding. And, you know, I think everyone who's been here has been made to feel very welcome. So thank you for that. Trinidad and Tobago is a very oil and gas-rich country, which is quite an anomaly in the West Indies and the Caribbean. Not so much the region, but we are one of the possibly the 6th largest producer of gas in the world. And we have very little renewable energy. And that's why you would see that we have ramped up our initiatives in renewable energy and energy efficiency. We had a very large contingent in New York in September at Climate Change Summit. Previous to that, we had a large contingent in Abu Dhabi for Ascent to Climate Change. And then we were contacted. We were at this time working with RTCC in terms of seeing where we go and publicizing some of our material. And we have started, and it's a very difficult, speaking from the other side, it's a very, very difficult road to roll out renewable energy in Trinidad when the price of electricity is 5 US cents per kilowatt hour, which is, you know, one of the lowest in the world. However, the government insists and is moving forward in its initiatives by recognizing that only when government takes the lead, a firm lead, a strong lead, recognizes that climate change is not just a story that might happen, but is something that is actually happening right now, and recognizing that our beautiful coastlines in Trinidad and most of Tobago will go underwater very soon, that government will lead the way, whatever it takes to adapt and mitigate for climate change is being done, and this is one of the steps that we have taken in partnering with RTCC, with being with them here. I see this as a start of a very good friendship between both organizations, and as we co-chair this COP20, which we are doing, then you will see a lot more from Trinidad and Tobago on the world stage.
That's good to know. Thank you very much, Randy. Now, the winner of this award is Akiona, and we were expecting Carmen Bercil to be here to pick up the award, but I get the feeling there may have been some problems in security, so she didn't make it through. But in any case, my colleague Shane can hand over the award for wind energy, and Randy, if you can present that to the camera, so we have that on record, and we'll send that to Akiona shortly. Thank you very much. Thanks, Randy. 5 more awards to go. The next one is Marine Energy, which is going to be presented by Fernando Jose Quelozaoli from the Peruvian Olympic Committee. Fernando, how are you? What happened to your hand? It's dangerous here. Perhaps you could just say a few words about the Peruvian Olympic Committee.
Well, we are involved in the organization of the next Pan American Games in 2019. So we are improving program to develop environmental system, clean games, and we're working in that way. So we are starting now with that opportunity to be close in relation with all the environmental issues.
Well, good luck with it. Good luck with those preparations. The winner of the Marine Energy Award is Lockheed Martin Ocean Energy, which is slightly unusual, but Lockheed Martin are now going heavily into ocean energy, and they've done some fantastic new projects that have come online recently. So we'll be sending this to them too, but if you can present that to the camera as well, and they can see that. Thank you very much, Fernando.
Okay,
thank you. Next award is Financial Innovation, and this award will be presented by the Deputy of Ligia Castro at Corporación Andina de Fomento. Anyone here? No? They're coming up. I thought for a minute you'd done a runner.
No. The thing is, I'm not Ligia. I'm Eleonora Silva.
Okay.
No problem.
I got the name wrong.
No problem.
Perhaps you can introduce yourself again, better than I've done, and perhaps explain a bit about your company and why you're interested in this sector.
Sure. Thank you very much. Yes, actually, I'm Eleonora Silva, and I'm the rep of CAF, Development Bank for Latin America, based here in Peru. And thank you very much, Ed, for inviting us for the awards tonight. CAF is a development bank of Latin America, for Latin America, and of Latin American countries. And we operate now in 19 countries, including South America, some countries in Central America, the Caribbean, and 2 European friends, Spain and Portugal. And we are committed to financing sustainable development of our countries. And of course, the green agenda is a very big part and compromise from our side. All of our financing have a green part, and that's why Camilo is here with me. He's one of our executives who has to foresee that the green part is really taken care of in all of our activities. And that's, well, one of the reasons why we supported this award. Is part of the commitment that we have with our countries, and in this case, we appreciate very much the invitation that RTCC made to CAF to participate in this event here within the COP in Peru. So thank you very much. I would like also to take the opportunity, if some of you are wondering what kind of financing we do and how we operate, there are a few conferences that will take place within this agenda. There is a conference on Monday at 11 o'clock where we will be presenting how CAF, among other multilaterals, operate in the financing arena. And also on Tuesday, we will be presenting one of our programs that we are very proud of, which is the Biocomercio program. So we will invite you to participate in those conferences as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, I can tell you the winner of the Financial Innovation Award was Mazda for its Clean Tech Fund and Clean Technology Fund, which totaled, I guess, soaring above the 300 million mark. Mr. Al-Suwadi from Mazda will be here next week, and we'll give him the award then. But in the meantime, my colleague Shane will give you the award. And if you guys can just stand with it for a second so we have that on camera. Oh, they're actually here. He is here. Wow, I didn't realise. The way it had gone so far tonight, I didn't know who was here. Mr. Al-Suwadi, come to the stage. No one let me know. Congratulations. And perhaps you can say a few words. Apologies for ignoring you.
No, thank you very much. Actually, I don't work for Masdar. I work for the UAE Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I'm here on behalf of Masdar to receive this award, and we're very honored, and thank you very much for this great opportunity to speak and talk about Masdar. Masdar is really a testament to the UAE's commitment to renewable energy, and particularly our belief in sustainable development and the need to meet the growing demand for energy as our developing countries grow and the demand for energy grows. And the UAE strongly believes that renewable energy has to play a really important part of that. Masdar is a unique company in that it invests both in research and development, but also invests in projects not only within the UAE, but also around the world. Masdar currently provides energy to, I think, hundreds of thousands of homes in the UK and in Spain, and also has projects in the Pacific and other areas of the world. And we in the UAE are very proud of its achievements, and we thank you very much for this award today. Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. If you're flying into Heathrow or London City Airport, you can see the London Array wind farm, which Masdar contributed a significant amount to. So it's your legacy in the UK. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Few more awards. Sustainable Architecture. Is Georges Leon Wolpercuri from Sedatu here? Hi, George. Perhaps you can say a couple of explain a bit about your connection with this conference and what you hope to sort of learn from it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, I represent the government of Mexico. I am responsible for urban design at Sedatu, which is the Ministry for Territorial Ordainment and Agricultural Ordainment as well. And it is an honor, of course, to be here for these awards and to somehow recognize the work of Mitten, which is experimental towards sustainability in architecture. We definitely are building an important climate agenda in Mexico towards sustainable cities, but sustainable cities are not possible without green architecture. And as an architect, it's also very important for me to be able to be here. And well, I know that Mithan is not here, but just to be able to hand and receive this award on his behalf is very important. Architecture should always be sustainable. It's really the essence of architecture, sustainability. It has been lost for many years, and it is very important to see how it is surfacing again towards a brighter and cleaner future. So very pleased to be here, and thank you again.
Thank you very much. And some of the architecture in Mexico City is the most stunning you'll ever see around the world, if you can get past the traffic, but it's a stunning city, so recommend anyone to go there. 2 more awards. Hydrogen and fuel cells, going to be presented by Xavier Romero at World Vision International from Ecuador. Thanks for joining us, Xavier. Tell us a bit about you and your organization.
Okay, thank you, Ed. Good evening. On behalf of World Vision, it's an honor to be part of this award presentation. World Vision is a Christian humanitarian relief, development, and advocacy organization which works in 100 countries around the world with about 100 million people every year, with 44,000 staff. We see the effects of climate change in the communities we serve every day. Climate change is reversing the development gains we have made, and for example, small farmers are seeing water pattern changes, making it more difficult to grow their crops and feed their children. So we are excited to give an award to BOC because they have been doing things that will slow climate change. They are using solar panels to create green hydrogen for vehicles in England. This is clean and renewable energy that reduces the emissions of greenhouse gases. This technology is transferable to the places World Vision works. Can you imagine a village in Peru, Ecuador, or Ghana that can have electricity and transportation from green hydrogen? We hope to see this future soon. Congratulations, BOC.
Thanks, Xavier. BOC is stuck in the UK, but here's the award, and we'll get that to them. They've got a fascinating factory just outside Swindon, which is producing this green hydrogen, which I think a lot of people are going to be looking to see how that can be scaled up around the world. Thank you very much, Xavier. And final award tonight is Water and Hydropower, going to be presented by Pedro Lerner at Celepsa. Is Pedro here? Pedro, tell us a bit about Celepsa, first of all, please.
Celepsa is an independent power producer that operates a hydropower plant in Peru. That's the newest that has been commissioned in 2010, the El Platanal hydropower project, which is the main issuer of carbon credit certificates among all Peruvian industries or companies. So we are very happy to present this award to National Trust.
And the award is to the National Trust back in the UK for a pioneering series of mini hydro plants that they've built across the UK, which ensure that environmental damage is at a minimum while providing energy to quite an impressive number of homes and businesses in their vicinity. Keith Jones is head of National Trust's hydropower, and we'll be giving this award to him when we get back to the UK. But if you guys can just post it there briefly, that would be fantastic.